This time last week, Hume City were unfancied, being tipped by some as relegation contenders. A poor 2018 compounded by a mass exodus of key players. Govan, Williams, Kofi all departing. But as Saturday afternoon rolled around and the first shades of sunset descended upon the Dandenong Stadium, the men from Hume found themselves strolling to a statement win against the Thunder. But how will they fare tonight when they play hosts? Oakleigh faltered in their first game of the season, losing 2-1 at home against the Melbourne Knights. Despite being level for much of the game, they'll be looking to spend more time in the opposition half tonight, with great impetus on arguably their biggest name summer signing, Milos Lujic from South Melbourne. Now, will they fire, or will Hume build on their impressive start to the season? It's Friday night football, and it's live. I'm joined in the commentary box by the senior editor of the Daily Football Show, Joel Frucci, to preview this mouth-watering encounter. And Joel, this is looking like a classic Friday night game.
Yeah, it should be good, Bilal, and look, good night for it. It's a bit windy, but you probably could say it's probably classic ABD. The smell of lamb in the air, a bit of wind, nice sunny night. But yeah, it should be interesting. Obviously, Hume City last week, a big win over Dandenong Thunder, and probably in some respects, probably a little bit unexpected, certainly as you mentioned, given all the, I suppose, the off-field turmoil, if you like, since last season. And yeah, Oakleigh as well, a 2-1 loss to Melbourne Knights on opening day, so they'll be certainly keen to bounce back as soon as possible, especially when you, I suppose, look at the quality they've got, headlined obviously by the former Southman, Milos Lujic.
All right, we're only seconds away here, ladies and gentlemen. And we're underway. Hume from right to left and Oakleigh from left to right. We'll run you through the starting lineups very, very quickly. We've got Hume starting with Michael Wayer in goals, Paul Wilson, Gideon Sweet, Harry Monaghan, Urson Kea, Stephen, well, here's the son, Stephen Hewitt, Will Hendon, Daniel Dixon, Mitch Cooper, James Brown, and Benjamin Bowler. And we've got Oakleigh in the white, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you have it a little confused, because Hume actually do play their away games in white. So these two sides are kind of wearing a change strip each. So we've got Harry White, Ramazan Travson Okoglu, Luke Pavlou, Hamish Mella, Thomas Matthews, who also captains the team today, Milos Lujic, who we mentioned earlier, John Honos, Joe Guest, their goal scorer from last week, Blair Govan, who was at Hume City last season, so he's very familiar with this ground, Matthew Foccini, and Nicholas Epifano. Now, Nicholas Epifano and Milos Lujic, of course, both were at South Melbourne last season, so it's a bit of a pair signing. They may have brought that camaraderie from their South Melbourne days, Joel.
Yeah, you'd expect so. Two players that played together for a little while, and yeah, look, certainly you could say Chris Taylor players. I mean, they both came over when he came to here to Oakleigh. So yeah, it should be interesting. And Nick Epifano, someone who I'm really interested in watching. I think for a long time he's probably been good enough to probably push for a senior gig up in the A-League. It just hasn't happened for him. So it should be interesting to see how he goes tonight in the season.
Exactly right, Joel. And we're in actually for an interesting encounter here, because Hume were unfancied, as I said in the intro last week. They were, they've had a bit of a rough pre-season. They lost a lot of players. Nick Hegarty has decided to kind of give up the boots for the sneakers and just coach this season. He was, of course, the player coach last season. So they've got a very key player in Hegarty, and they've looked like they've just bounce back straight away, because of course they were only one game away from that relegation playoff last season.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly, even though, as you said, Bill, Nick Hegarty did have some experience last season in that head coach post, if you like, as a player coach. But yeah, I mean, that change of manager can always bring some fresh ideas and some real energy in the dressing room.
Oh, here we go! Just like that, out of the blue, Nick Epifano, who we were just talking about, has opened the scoring for Oakleigh Cannons. Literally out of nothing. And I'm being corrected here. It was... there we go. We spoke about the change strips, and it's completely caught me off guard. It's completely caught me off guard because Hume played in the white last season. My mistake, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that was Ersin Kay, I believe, charging forward. Great strike on the break, and it did catch us off guard. You're right, Bilal. But great start for Hume City, and we talk about momentum coming into this game. Obviously, 4 unanswered last week against Andy Thunder. What a start! Yeah,
amateur mistake from me there. I was talking so much about the prospect of the game, forgot to keep my eyes on it, and with the sun firmly in our eyes, it's hard to make out who's at a Joel. But no, it was Ersin Kay who opened the scoring there, and it is Hume 1-0. And it's a worrying start for Oakleigh because, of course, they also went behind last week. And now they're looking at the prospect of 2 defeats in a row to start the season. Now it's sweet. And now they come again, Hume. Can't be! Oh, great save there.
For anyone watching at home as well, I think we really did see the wind on that shot. That's just how strong it is out here. So certainly one for each of the goalkeepers to watch as the night goes on. Some real swerve in that one, and a great save by Thomas Matthews as well.
Yeah, Ersin Kay's shot there, of course, did swing a little from right to left. There may have been a bit of curl on it, but a lot of it was affected by that wind and ended up finding that bottom corner. So you can use this wind to your advantage, especially since Hume are shooting with the wind today. No, sorry, in this half. And now Oakleigh trying to play out from the back. All the way back to Matthews. And it's sweet now. And Joel, what are your thoughts on the opening 5 minutes or so of this fascinating Friday night game?
Well, I suppose the first thing that springs to mind is obviously fast start, some real intent from Hume City, and yeah, look, it was worrying for Oakleigh, I suppose, given that they did lose the game last week, and as you said, Bill, they went behind as well. So yeah, look, a concern, but at the same time, you'd be pleased if you're Hume City. You've got all that momentum and you're at home, so you certainly want to make the most of that. And look, in terms of the conditions as well, the wind, we spoke a bit about that, and even when we look at the FA Cup last year, Sydney FC versus Avondale, we could really see the win there, and it's pretty synonymous with this venue, and they should know that very well. So, I mean, that long-range strike as well was probably indicative of almost what they should be trying early, really trying to test Honos in goal and just really trouble him, and I suppose put the nerves, if you like, through Oakleigh early.
Oh, and now a challenge in the middle of the park. The referee says play on. And now Hume go again with KO. It'll be interesting to see if Hume are able to maintain this fast start. They often were a bit topsy-turvy in games last season, so they'd start well and tail off a little towards the end of the half, or vice versa. So it'll be interesting to see just if they are able to maintain this momentum, and especially if Oakleigh come out with a charge of their own. As I mentioned, they didn't spend much time in their opponent's penalty area last week. That's well kept in. And it's out for a Hume throw-in now. So if we look a little closely, it's looking like both sides are lining up with the back four. Trying to make out the remainder of the formation. A little hard to do. The closer we get to the time of sunset, the harder it is to see at the moment. But I'm sure we'll get through it. And now Oakleigh trying to get through this high press of Hume, and surprising just how high up the field they are pressing, because as we were talking about before the game, Joel, it's one of the larger fields in the NPL, this ground here at ABD. And now Oakleigh have won it high up. And now they go. Now here we go. Here's Epifano. But no luck there, an interception. Now Hume will go again, trying to play it out from their defensive half. It's fascinating to see if Oakleigh can actually hold them in their half. Now it's Gideon Sweet. Monaghan, the captain today for Hume City. Dixon. And now, Joel, it's looking like Hume have just tried to maybe slow the play down. They can't obviously go gung-ho throughout the... Oh, here we go. Just as we mentioned, we've got a 2-on-3 here. Oh, and very well intercepted there. Oakleigh got the numbers back. It was a 2-on-3, but it was in a very, very promising position. And the ball just couldn't find Mitch Cooper in the middle of the park, in the middle of the penalty box.
Yeah, we talk of camaraderie, Bilal, the two Gold Coast United boys, James Brown and Mitch Cooper there, and I mean we saw last week they were exceptional in that first win for Hume City, 2 goals each, so they clearly know each other's game, and look, that's something they can really feed on this season, and we saw it there. Yeah,
and James Brown was pivotal to everything good that Hume were able to come up with last season. He was their, I would say, key player alongside John Kofi and Nick Hegarty when they were all fit together, which was a rarity. Hume's front three was absolutely flying. Brown played as a false 9, and here we go now as I continue to ramble on. Oakleigh get into their forward third. But again, it's intercepted. They seem to have their number defensively here, Hume. And Hegarty urging his team forward. Oh, and he's done very, very well here. And here's Kaya in a more advanced position today. Urson Kaya tried to turn provider. Oh, shouts for a penalty. The referee thought about it, but no penalties given. Joel, any thoughts?
No, I think that was the right decision. I mean, certainly when players come in from the side or behind, you always leave the referee with a bit of a reason to blow the whistle there, but I don't think there was enough in that, and sort of already on the way down as well.
Yeah, it looked like he was on a bit of a U-turn there as it seemed his path to goal had been closed down. So interesting to see now Hume with a chance to... Oh, here we go. It's a free kick, surely. Yeah, of course, on Mitch Cooper. I was just about to say Hume with a chance to really have a go in the final third, and now they've got a free kick. And it'll be Hewitt to take. It'll be an in-swinger here.
Good position here for the right footer as well.
Can Hume make it 2-0? No, it's away by Oakleigh. But Kaya will be the first to it. And here's Brown. Whips it in. Oh, and a chance there.
Interesting sequence of play here, Bilal. And look, I think certainly after this little sequence here as well, as Mitch Cooper picks up possession on the left wing, I think Oakleigh just need to settle things down a bit and just hold some possession at the back or in the middle of the pitch, because Hume are all over him at the moment, and it just doesn't seem like they've really settled yet. Hume certainly look like the home side and really keeping hold of the ball, but Oakleigh just need to get it back and really maintain possession for a few minutes and sort of get a foothold in the game. It's been a very lethargic start from them.
And now it's Sweet playing like a left wing back in possession. Hume dropping into a back three when they have the ball. It's an interesting setup. Oh, and that's a beautiful touch by Kaya, and they aren't able to capitalize on it. But Kaya has been instrumental in Hume's attacking potency in this half.
They're looking very good going forward, especially Urson Kaya. He's looking incredibly dangerous, and really he's been at the thick of a lot of what they've done so far. Hume City, obviously the goal scorer as well. So that's certainly another one for Chris Taylor maybe to look at, maybe a bit of man marking as Stephen Hewitt steps up for the corner below.
Now Hewitt with another chance to whip in a set piece. They're crowding the keeper here, City. It's Urson Kea standing right in front of Matthews. The ball swung in, and another chance there goes begging. Could it be one of those days where Hume City may come back to rule these missed chances if Oakleigh manages to find an equalizer here as they quickly restart play? Oh, and the challenge there from Cooper. He did not hold back at all. And Hume is desperate to come onto the field to treat him. That's one play they cannot afford to lose, Mitch Cooper.
Yeah, he's in red hot form, and look, he's been dangerous early in this game. Hasn't sort of had a lot of sniffs so far. He's had one really good opportunity, but apart from that, sort of still growing into the game. But certainly, Hume City looking very dangerous indeed. So, of course, that being the case, obviously your centre forward is going to be at the thick of the action as well. But they certainly won't want to lose Mitch Cooper, especially after such a strong start to the season.
And now Oakleigh. Now in a promising position with Lujic. Tries to use his strength, but he's out-muscled. And Kea's finding himself the furthest forward now. Such a versatile player, Urson Kea. Reminds me of a James Milner type, or even a Genie Wijnaldum.
I think I'm right in saying, Bilal, that's the same number as James Milner, number 7. So there you go, and same colour shirt as well. So I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah, Hume are in red, right? Yeah. Of course, made that mistake earlier. Yeah, Hume, of course, played in white last week and now at home in their preferred red strip. Now Sweet will bring the ball back in. Hume, of course, sitting top of the table after round 1. Obviously, just a formality, really, after the first round of games, but that +4 goal difference after their 4-0 win did place them at the top of the table. And no matter what point of the season it is, it's always nice to be, sitting atop that perch and looking down. And here they come again now, trying to cement that place at the top of the table, but not with a final ball like that.
Yeah, well, absolutely, Bilal. I mean, the same applies for any competition in the world, whether it's here in NPL Victoria or La Liga or the Championship or whatever it is. You always want to set the pace early and really keep the pressure on the chasing pack and make them the ones to be able to catch up to you and match your level. And look, certainly with 4 goals to start the season, a real statement of intent, if you like, from Hume City, especially after all the turmoil of last season and the changing of hands, if you like, and a lot of raps on Dandy Thunder as well. Certainly when you look at some of the moves they made as well in the off season, and you look at the likes of Peter Skapetis coming in, of course, formerly of Brisbane Roar, Central Coast Mariners most recently, Stoke City and Portsmouth as well. So yeah, look, a real big statement from Hume, and if they could do the same or similar against Oakleigh here at home, a team with real quality, it'd be a similarly striking statement of intent, I think.
Very well said. And now Hume, I think, ready to go again with the fast tempo of play. At about a 5-10 minute period there where they tried to slow the play down. But Nick Hegarty on the sideline here, the Hume coach, is not one to lose his patience very quickly. And Sweet now is again playing in that left wing back position. Look how high up the field he is. And challenge in the middle of the park. And again, it's down that left flank. Looks like if Oakleigh are going to threaten Hume, it's going to be on those flanks when their wing backs find themselves high up the field. With the pace that Oakleigh possess on the flanks, and now Hume go down the right flank themselves, and Kea find himself in the middle. And the offside flag is up to stop that attack in its tracks.
Yeah, that's a very poor offside there. Really shouldn't be offside in that position where you're looking straight across the line. But look, Hume City in the lead at the moment. I suppose it's nothing to be, sort of for them to get too hung up about. But certainly they won't want to squander too many of those positions below.
And now, Sweet will retain the ball for City. Just over a quarter of an hour played here at ABD Stadium as Cooper is told to get back up. And Sweet will challenge, but he won't win it. And it's White, but the ball has gone out of play. It's a lot of decent play in the midfield for Oakleigh, but just not finding that final pass, Joel.
Well, I still think, Bilal, they haven't really been able to sort of dictate the play, really. That's something they really should be doing. And as we watch right now, Hume City really still controlling the ball, and that's been the tail of the tape for the opening part of the half, really. So it's something that Oakleigh, I should say, really do have to change. And we saw the last couple of attacks have really looked to hit Hume quickly on the break with some balls over the top down the flanks. But I suppose if I was in their shoes at the moment, I'd really be looking to hold the ball in midfield a bit, even sort of play some passes across the back. Clearly in their position, it's not really going to help them a great deal, but they just need to be able to establish some kind of control of the game.
And they're doing the exact opposite here as Kea again puts it into the Oakleigh box. And now they break again. And again down that left flank. But they've got options. They've got options down the right flank. And they really could have switched the ball there if they had seen the option earlier. But again, it's a turnover. And now Sweet, completely unmarked. It's the obvious pass, but by the time the ball's arrived, he is marked. But he's very nicely handed it off. And it's Cooper now, he tries to get him behind, but it should be flagged. It is flagged, yep.
Hume City having a lot of joy down this left-hand side as well. Giddy Sweet and also and Nursing K when he drifts over here, and Mitch Cooper getting in on the action as well, making some really good arched runs as well. So yeah, look, it's all Hume at the moment, Bilal. Oakleigh have really got to do something about it. Here's a good little spell for them with the ball, and look, this is really what they need to do. Just hang on to the ball a bit here, and really get a bit of possession. Don't rush things. Just hang on to it here.
And now Oakleigh knocking the ball around, and it's been a rarity here in this first half. Oh, and that's a nice turn. And the switch is on, but it doesn't quite make it.
More control here by Hume. As we saw before, Bilal, good little spell of position from Oakleigh, and then they went quick. They tried to swap flanks, but they really just need to hang on to it a bit. I still feel as though they're rushing the ball somewhat. Just try and keep things simple, as they say. And it was good to get a bit of clarification on exactly what that phrase means today from Scott Miller, of course, coach of Lang Warren in NPL 2 East. And well, I had no idea what that means, but apparently it's all about just doing the things you know. Sounds a lot simpler than some might think, including myself. But I suppose having heard that a lot from managers, it was good to find out.
Now Cooper, Sweet, and that should be flagged. Not sure. No, he stayed on. Wonderfully done. Now Hewitt has got a man to beat, but he's got Kay in the middle. Can he pick him out? Not quite, but Kay does keep it in. Now Hume have a chance to recycle. Oh, and the keeper's done well there. And now they've got a chance to go. White is shouting for the ball. He's finally got it. played across. Now it's wide again. The wind is blowing and Oakleigh are finding themselves up the field, but again it's intercepted. Just not quite coming off for them.
Interesting to see, Bilal, that Matthew Fashini is playing in the middle of the park tonight. He's someone from my experiences, having watched him at Melbourne Victory, saw him a lot on the right-hand side, certainly out in the fullback positions. So it's interesting. It's a first for me, and yeah, look, he's one certainly that can really have an impact in this game at the moment. He's someone that Oakleigh really should be looking to get on the ball, just to control things and step on it, if you like. We're talking about them needing to hang on to the ball and keep possession, and him being certainly a leader of this team is someone that can really help shape that. Some relief for us here as well in the commentary booth as the sun goes down.
Just as the sun goes down, the referees realise that they haven't packed the spare ball.
Classic.
Everyone's making blunders today.
Oh yeah, aren't we all? Aren't we all? Glasses off, jackets on. It's that time of night. Getting cool up here, but about to heat up on the pitch.
It's what you want. It's what you want, especially as a commentator. The last thing you want is the sun in your eye. A bit of cold never killed anyone. Oakleigh have done well to at least, in this, as they come forward again now, I'll continue in a moment. Now can they put a decent ball into the box, and the shot is lofted almost over the ABD group advertising hoarding there. Not the best shot in the world.
Yeah, nice little sequence there from Oakleigh, but it was probably nothing more than a half chance as well, top of the box. But look, I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, certainly, we've spoken a lot about how dominant Hume City have been. So, the chances have to start coming for Oakleigh eventually. And what was good about that was they did maintain the ball a little bit, and eventually they fashioned that chance. They didn't rush it, albeit it was still probably not in the position they would have liked. But look, good signs for them going forward. And look, it's certainly taken them a while, but they'll be hoping to build on it now.
And now it's almost Brown in behind. Now they go again. Oakleigh again with an attempt to... but they've just not been able to make the ball stick. Just 5, 6, 7 passes is all they need to string together just to maybe possibly gain some momentum. It's all being Hume in this first half. We've seen flashes, runs down the flank like this one, and another half-decent opportunity. And again, the cross is wasted, Joel.
Yeah, but look, more good signs, Bilal. They're starting to fashion some chances, and they're getting a little bit out of Joe Guest down that side as well. But again, yeah, as you say, look, a wasted opportunity. But certainly, when we consider the start that's been with Hume having so much of the ball, and Oakleigh, they've started to come back into it in the last 5 minutes. So look, even though they have probably squandered a couple of chances in the last little period, they'll certainly be pleased they're starting to create things.
Now, I'm very hesitant to make a concrete statement on this, but I think Kay is effectively playing as a false 9 with Cooper down the left. So it's a very interesting setup here. It's becoming more and more clear as the half progresses. And their back four is the back four is very fluid. Turns into a back 5 whenever they've got a period of sustained possession. Harry Monaghan has absolutely no problem dropping in as that third centre half, effectively. Yeah, it's an interesting setup. They've been fluid in both attack and defence, because we've seen Kea come out to the left. We've seen Brown join in the front 3, and we've seen Cooper as well have a bit of a stint through the middle, Joel.
Yeah, well, they've been hard. They've been hard to handle, hot to handle, if you like. Ersin Kaya especially, Bilal, as you mentioned, some good rotation, and look, Mitch Cooper as well, who's on the ball right now, certainly has been drifting a lot, and he's picking up the ball in some good areas, really making some good moves, getting forward. But yeah, it's good to watch. It's good to watch, and yeah, I think we probably came here with some expectations that we might see goals after last week, and yeah, Mitch Cooper's. I mean, he's not really a player that I've traditionally associated with being a real sort of deep lying forward. He was always someone that I saw playing through midfield at Gold Coast United and Newcastle Jets. But look, as we say, players transition. Of course, he had spells at Nana City, and of course Green Gully. I think I'm right in saying, and now he's here. So, bit of a journeyman as he makes a good run now, but cleared away and offside.
It is getting a bit cold here at ABD Stadium, but would it be a night at ABD Stadium if you didn't lose the feeling in your fingers just a little bit? It is a beautiful stadium under lights, though, so it'll be obviously under those floodlights with the sun completely down in the second half. It is really a sight to behold. And now Gideon Sweet, who has also been a sight to behold, running down this left flank in the first half. He tries to play it to Kea, who doesn't quite have the legs to hunt it down. And that's probably the first non-excellent thing that he's been involved in all half, Ersin Kea, because he's been absolutely sublime.
Yeah, well, he has been very good, as we say, and Giddy Sweet, they're getting some value off him as well. You could almost say that he's been very sweet in this first half. Bilal had to crack at least one terrible gag, didn't I, on my first call?
That's awful, Joel. But good at the same time. It's not a bad call. Almost as bad as my sight to behold one just a few seconds earlier. And Kay has been an absolute nuisance whenever the ball's in the air. Even when he's got absolutely no chance of getting to it, he just makes his presence known. And the ball's bounced out, and it is going to be Sweet who restarts it for Hume. Now Hewitt, all the way back to Dixon. Dixon, who's a couple of times played out and gone into the midfield, and now Kea. Dixon just needs to get out of the way. Kea has switched it all the way to the right fullback. And now Brown is an option. Will he use him? He feigns, and Brown gets him behind, but he's lost the ball, and now a chance to counter. But Hume get men back very, very quickly. We've mentioned that a couple of times, but if Oakleigh are going to get some joy, it is going to be down those flanks. And I've got a question just regarding Milos Lujic. Obviously, does his best work in the box. This counter-attacking style isn't really going to get the best out of him, is it, Joel?
Yeah, well, it doesn't really suit him, does it? I mean, we sort of know him as that traditional centre forward, the big number 9 that can sort of hold the ball, and yeah, or 99 as you say, Bill. Oh yeah, you're right. That can sort of just control the ball, and we really associate that with teams that are right on top and dominating the play. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't really suit him. So I'd almost like to see Milos Lujic sort of get himself up the pitch a little bit and just try and pick up the ball sort of in midfield and get himself into the game. Try and bring these flankers into things a bit.
And here he is now, but he loses the ball very, very quickly. Yeah, it is that issue of course of the big centre forward not wanting to get too far from the midfield, because even if he does get the ball at his feet, it'll be 3 or 4 seconds before he gets any real support. So they do need to stay compact between that front 3 and the midfield 3, but it's very hard to do when you're constantly scrambling to get the ball back. And the ball's almost through to Cooper, but it's going to be recycled now. And again, it's almost at end-to-end, but we're not really getting to either end. It's just in midfield, bit of a congested battle at the moment.
Yeah, it has got a bit cagey in the last sort of 10 minutes or so, and I mean both teams having a a little bit of possession either way. Certainly Hume, you'd probably say have had the better of it. But yeah, look, Oakleigh certainly have come back into things and are really starting to, I suppose, control things for a little bit and hold their own, certainly at least. But yeah, I mean, it's getting a little bit sloppy. And look, even for Hume, we've been speaking how good they've been going forward, Bilal, certainly in the first sort of 20 minutes or so, but probably in the last little bit, just going forward, they've played a couple of loose passes that are sort of too far in front. So yeah, look, even now for them, as we see them just gallivanting, that's no foul. It's out for a throw-in.
It's fair enough if he is if the referee is saying that the ball was one field, a Hume throw-in is what you're going to get. And Sweet with the fake throw, pulling out all the tricks here, as Hume now control the ball in defence, but they've, funnily enough, controlled the ball, but also looked dangerous countering the counter-attack from Oakleigh. So it's a bit of a funny one. If Oakleigh are going to stick to this counter-attacking style of play, they need to be careful that Hume don't catch them on the rebound as well. And now they win the ball back. And again, it's a long ball up to Lujic. Not sure how effective that's going to be, just because the midfield is just so detached.
Yeah, that was the wrong option there. And look, I mean, Milos Lujic hasn't really been in the game as we've already spoken about so far, Bilal. So, and he was outnumbered there, certainly very isolated as well. So, look, that's what Oakleigh really shouldn't be doing. They in those situations, they need to just control the ball in midfield, as we keep saying. Just hang on to it for a little bit, try and sort of move Hume City around, and then look for an opening in behind when it arises. But it probably certainly wasn't on there, and they just tried to hurry things a little bit too quickly.
And John Honus in the Oakleigh goal has had a bit of a quiet time with it in the last 10 minutes or so, after being very busy in the opening stages.
Yeah, he's been good so far. He's had a couple of little siders that he's had to deal with, and certainly a couple of opportunities as he picks up the ball now. But a couple of little siders early that he had to deal with the wind behind the shot. So he's been busy. The gloves have been stung a bit, but he's swept up well and come for the balls.
And now here's White with a chance. And that's where Lujic is dangerous. But they just couldn't get it into a zone for him to finish. We know how potent he can be in that box. So if Oakleigh can just, string a decent passage of play together where he can just, wouldn't say camp in that penalty area, but just get in and around that penalty spot, in that dangerous area, give the Hume centre halves something to think about. But he just hasn't been anywhere near Michael Weir, the Hume goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's had very little to do, by contrast to John Honos. But I mean, really, this is where Oakleigh, when they get into these positions, corners, free kicks, this is where they should be. They should be able to push the envelope and really. Not to overutilise Milos Lujic, you don't really want to do that, but certainly use his height, and they really do need to get him in the game and just give him something to feed off, something to look dangerous, get his confidence back up, and this is a great chance to do that, Bilal.
And the delivery doesn't beat the first man. It might have been headed back by an Oakleigh player, actually, and now can Hume counter with Cooper. No, it's a big crunching challenge, but all ball, says the referee. And here they're away, and now Kay on the left flank as the crowd reacts to Hume getting into their final third. And now it's Cooper again, and it's played all the way to the opposite flank, losing just a little bit of that momentum. They were getting up ahead of steam, but now they try to get back to the danger area, but nothing doing there, and it's just going to be a goal kick here for Honos.
This wind as well, Bilal, it's really swirling at the moment for viewers at home. Look, it's all night. It's going to be something that the players are going to constantly have to readjust to. It's really sort of changing directions, and it's probably, you could argue, it's probably been blowing down one end of the ground to our left, probably for the first 20 minutes and a bit, but it's started to come back the other way a little bit. So probably at the moment, probably going in Oakleigh's favour, which they'd want to utilise before the break.
And now Oakleigh, this is the kind of position that they need to capitalise on. It is a throw-in, but if they can just retain the ball and know they've gone straight into the penalty area. Oh, and they've got a free kick in a very dangerous position here. This is not how Hume want to be defending, giving away free kicks just outside the penalty area. You mentioned the wind, Joel, and just a thought, Oakleigh may actually be holding out for half-time here because they will be shooting with the wind in that second period. If it doesn't do a U-turn, you know how it is with home sides. You know, even the elements sometimes go in your favour. But yeah, it may be the case. And now here's an opportunity with the free kick. Oh, and Weah with the... Look, it's a camera save. It's one of those. He probably could have just made it look a little less dramatic, but he had to make sure, didn't he, Joel?
Yeah, maybe taking one out of the copybook of Philip Curto, of course, of the Wellington Phoenix with the Hollywood save. But yeah, look, I mean, certainly, if you're Michael Weir, you don't really mind doing that. Probably, he's been pretty quiet, which is a good thing, obviously, for goalkeepers when you don't have a lot to do. But yeah, first real test, and he was up to the task, and a decent free kick as well.
Very much so. And Cooper's not able to keep it in. Do you feel Cooper's actually dropped deeper back into that midfield role we're accustomed to seeing him in as the half's gone on, Joel?
Yeah, it certainly looks like it, and at the moment, as we can see from our position here, Ersin Kaya is highest up the pitch, which I suppose you can certainly understand given how dangerous he has been. Mitch Cooper's really worked very hard. For someone that started so high up the pitch, he really has worked hard for possession, and certainly going back the other way as well. We saw just some 10 minutes ago on the counter, we won the ball back and gave Hume City a fighting chance going the other way.
And again, the referee's really just been letting the game roll. It's been a very physical game. Nothing unclean about it. It's just it's been tasty, we'll say.
What was tasty is over. Upstairs, the Hume City canteen. Very good lamb wrap. Very good lamb wrap indeed. For anyone that's out here, make sure you do go up and get one.
For those of you who don't know, Joel Frucci actually is going to be starting a blog about all the NPL grounds and their canteen areas. How was the souvlaki last week at the Olympic Village Stadium?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, certainly we used to high standards from Heidelberg United out there at the Olympic Village. So yeah, look, it's a bit of a canteen roadshow if you like. But I'm very pleased to be involved with the NPL in this way, because you kind of get to see the sights and get the feel of all the grounds statewide. And
now Hume in a very dangerous area. But they couldn't make it count as Joel kind of got distracted from the action with the thoughts of all the stadiums. We'll get back to it in a moment. I'm sure people want to know which grounds are the go-to. It's part of the experience, isn't it? And now City again, and now Cooper's got a chance on the turn, and the effort from just outside the box, but couldn't make it count. Now it's a bit of a stalemate on the right flank, and it's recycled now by City. Hume City definitely won't want this half to end. They've been all over Oakleigh. Just over 5 minutes remaining by my watch, and the referee says that's where I draw the line. You can't be jumping over players in a bit of an AFL type challenge there. But yeah, it's been a very well refereed game by just in my opinion. I personally like to see that the referee let a lot go. We saw that as they go down the right flank here, the Cannons. Yeah, we saw it at the Village. We were just speaking about that game. This is the last game we were at together, Joel. The opening game of the season. The referee there let the game roll, and apart from that little scuffle after Heidelberg's opener, we didn't see him to rue that decision.
Yeah, absolutely, Bilal. And look, it's good to see. I mean, as you know, we talk as media people, but as fans, we want to see games flow, and regardless of the level of football that it is, we just want to see open, expansive games and let the players play, which is what the referee's doing tonight, which has been really good, and certainly Hume City on the ball right now in Gideon Sweet, who's been very dangerous all night. That's certainly exactly what they're doing, continuing to stretch Oakleigh as the half draws to a close.
And now Cooper, who once again finds himself in a dangerous area. Very well done there, great footwork, but it's a great challenge to stop him in his tracks. And now it's Sweet. It's Cooper again. And Kea with the header. How dangerous has he been this half? He definitely won't want the half to end.
Yeah, he's been extremely good in this half. And well, that header, it was a bit of a tough one. It was low down. Tried to go across the goalkeeper, back where it came from, which is what you want. But yeah, just not enough direction or power. But certainly from that position, a bit hard to sort of crane your head around as we see a drone flying about beneath us, which is an interesting sight, Bilal. But yeah, look, no, decent little bit of play there from Hume City. But John Honos again, another touch of the ball, but he's kept pretty well. He's been on his toes.
We know about the broadcast deal for the NPL this season. Did not know drones were involved. Yeah, I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if that should be hovering over the field, but let's just turn a blind eye to that one and keep the action, keep our eye on the action as the 1 minute of injury time is displayed, and Hume City with possibly one last opportunity to make the most of their dominant first half. Of course, they won't be unhappy with the 1-0 half-time lead, but it's just not quite representative of their dominance because they have created throughout this first half, Joel. Yeah,
not quite, but certainly as the half's gone on, even though they haven't been overly threatening, Oakleigh have certainly come back into the game a bit and have certainly tightened up at the back and really restricted Hume a bit, even though the likes of Kea, Brown, Cooper, Hewitt have really been good and have been getting on the ball. Like Gideon Sweet as well has had a lot of it. But the chances have dried up a bit. So, but overall, certainly. But overall, on the balance of play, you'd be hard pressed to argue that Hume City don't deserve the lead. So it's probably the right result.
Yeah, a bit of a late challenge there, but referee again let the game go. And that's half-time, ladies and gentlemen, at ABD Stadium for this clash between Hume City and the Oakleigh Cannons. Hume City lead through an Ursen Kea goal inside the first 5 minutes. And the Cannons, while they've tightened up in defence, they haven't really challenged going forward. And while they'll be shooting with the win in the second half, they will be hoping to build on that first half performance, defensive performance, and hopefully threaten going forward in the second half. Welcome back to ABD Stadium, ladies and gentlemen, for the start of the second half between Hume City and Oakleigh Cannons. Hume in the red, Oakleigh in the white. A reminder to myself, first and foremost. I'm here with Joel Ferrucci, senior editor of the Daily Football Show. And Joel, it's been a first half dominated by Hume City, as the referees come back out now. But Oakleigh Cannons have had their fair share of we'll call it midfield possession. To be fair, it's really been in their own half, and if they can turn that into forward third possession, we could be in for a very, very close finish here.
Yeah, look, not a lot of opportunity for Oakleigh in the final third so far, and for a lot of that first half, they really struggled to actually maintain the ball in their own half, let alone in Hume's half. So, that'll be a real sort of point of focus for them, and certainly, starting with the ball here as we kick off, they really do need to just keep hold of it for a few seconds, really, and just settle down in first half.
And that's the last thing they need to do. Hoof it up to Lujic again. And
they didn't listen. They didn't listen to me.
Did not listen. They need the live stream in one ear and the coach in the other. I was just about to say, as the wind graces us with its presence again, that it's actually quietened down the wind over the halftime break. And just as we alluded to before the halftime break, it kind of knew, didn't it, that Oakleigh was gonna get the advantage. So the winds just stopped blowing.
Yeah, well, it was very swirly in that half, wasn't it? But look, if anything, Hume City should be well used to it. It's pretty classic ABD out here for the wind to be all over the shop. Geez, that drone we were talking about in the first half, that's getting even higher and higher, and it's lit up. It's certainly there for all to see.
Unbelievable. Do you know if there are regulations with drones? They are fairly recent. I'm not sure if the FFV rulebook has anything regarding drones. Might be a bit of a distraction to the players, but we love it, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think more importantly, Bilal, the other thing we have to remember is we're right near Tullamarine Airport. That's probably more of a concern, let alone the football. There's giant jumbo jets going past, and there's a drone here.
Oh my goodness. Not trying to be a witness to that. So let's just hope there are no incidents. But very good point. Now, it's a long hoofed ball by Weyer. And now it's Kea, that dangerous man from the first half. And now Hendon. Will Hendon, who, might I add, had an absolutely phenomenal second half of the season last year. Oh, and that's a wonderful ball to Hewitt. And Hewitt is in. And they have to finish here. It falls. Oh, my goodness. Can you believe that John Homos has managed to keep that out? Because I would have put my house on it, Joel Ferrucci.
Yeah, good play there again from Hume, and it was really more of the same from the first half. They've started on the front foot, and look, stinging the palms of John Honos early is exactly what they want, as they did in the first half.
I think that's the closest they've come to scoring since they did hit the back of the net, Hume. It's really as clear-cut a chance as you'll get. They just weren't able to, just hold their nerve when really counted there. Now it's Hewitt and Brown with a little interchange, and Brown does very well. Look at those dancing feet, and tried to find Cooper, who is, as we've alluded to, very familiar with. And Cooper in the middle, what a header! He craned the neck. Cristiano Ronaldo-esque there.
Yeah, no, that was a great header. Just unfortunately for Mitch Cooper and Hume, just a bit to the wrong side of the post, but that's exactly what you want to do. Textbook header, just hit it across, back where it came from.
Exactly right, and now Lujic on the left flank. That's not where he wants to be. He wants to be on the other end of that cross. It was a very decent ball. If only he was also there to head it in.
Yeah, exactly. We probably want the roles reversed there, Bill as well. But look, good goalkeeping by Michael Weir. Hasn't been overly busy in this game, and you could probably understand if his fingers were as cold as ours up here in the commentary position. But yeah, look, it's good that when he's getting these scraps, and that's not a good clearance though. But when it does come to him, he's dealing with it well.
Yeah, he's got those big gloves on though. How I would love to have those on right now, but we'll have to make do. And now with Hewitt, who's not really stamped his authority on this game. He's one of those players that loves to control the pace of the game, and that ball's just too wide for Danny Dixon. And Joel, for all of you watching at home, has gone for the good old pen and paper route, and the darker it gets, the harder it is to see the dark blue writing. But we've also got the digital backup, so should be okay. You've got to. Oh, and quick free kick here, and what an opportunity for Oakleigh. Hume fell asleep, but Oakleigh just weren't able to capitalise. Easily their best opportunity of the match, Joel.
Yeah, for sure, and they have had some, and you kind of get the sense that they're drawing closer. And what's been noticeable in the first little period of this second half, Bill, is that Milos Luic is getting on the ball a little bit more. He's certainly looking lively, and it's a good chance for him here.
And the ball's whipped in, but only to a Hume head. And now they're coming again with Epifano. And it's a decent ball, but it's over the top, and it's gone out for a corner. Yeah, Joel, as you mentioned, Oakleigh really playing themselves back into the game here. And we might actually... Hume might actually end up ruining these missed chances, namely that one now at the start of the second half, because a one-on-one really doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, well, they're looking a lot better, Oakleigh, but what they're missing is quality delivery. Hopefully for them, they get one here.
And it's a decent ball, and a scrap, and a great save by Weah. I didn't quite make out who it was that got their foot to that, but Weah managed to get down fast enough to hold on to the ball, because if there were scraps there, the Oakleigh players would have been all over it. And now Kea, who we've yet to, I believe, call out in the second half, who dominated that first half, and now Cooper, but it's intercepted. And now Brown, ball stolen off him by Epifano. Now Epifano again.
Looks as well, Bilal, like Mitch Cooper once again is that furthest forward as he looks to get on the ball here, but certainly getting involved in the play in this early bit of the half.
Yeah, it's, as we mentioned in the first half, been an interchangeable front three, and not only the positions, but who's been furthest forward for him. We've seen Kea in the central position, we've seen Kea on the left, we've seen Cooper on the left, seen Cooper in midfield. We've seen Brown pop up on the right, and we've seen him in his more accustomed central attacking midfield position that he's taking up now. So it's been a very fluid front three or front four for him, and it's been a bit of a nightmare for Oakleigh to handle. It's an improvement on the front three that they were playing last season, because that was also just as fluid, but they had a more, I'd say, more central number 9 who didn't really come onto the flanks as much in John Kofi. And here's Kea, who's in that position today. Bit of a false 9, if you will. And they come out again, the Cannons. But again, it's intercepted. But that ball amounts to nothing. And now Epifano. Epifano again. And now the Cannons have a chance down the right flank. It's whipped in, but it's too easy for Wow. Harry White finding himself in a very advanced position there. Does look like a. No, it was looking like a front two for a minute there, but it is that front three still for Oakleigh. And calls for a free kick, and eventually the referee does give it. And the crowd's getting involved here with the chants.
Not sure if that's audible. Yeah.
I was going to say hopefully not coming through on the audio here, because it's some expletives been utilised here by the home support. But they're giving Oakleigh some feedback. And now Kaya has a chance to whip it in. Oh, and almost to the head of Cooper, but not quite. And now back out to Kaya, not quite again. Great interception there. And while Oakleigh started the half looking a bit potent, it's now they're now back into that 4-2-3-1, where the furthest forward is very much on his own. Lujic just chasing shadows, really.
Yeah, Lujic very isolated at the moment, and Hume City in the last little bit really reasserting themselves back onto this game. Good little attack there. That last delivery from Ersin Kaya had a really good shape on it, and for a moment there you thought that'd be the opportunity for Hume. Obviously not to be in the end, but look, certainly the tide is really swinging back in their favour, if indeed Bilal ever did go out of their favour. A little period for Oakleigh, but certainly nothing to write home about, really, as you would say.
Nothing to write home about, indeed, as Oakleigh seemed to have put away the pen and paper completely, as Hume are almost operating entirely in their attacking half. And just as I say that, they play the ball all the way back to Michael Ware, who proceeds to launch it into the attacking half again. But Oakleigh seem to have dealt with it, but Cooper's onto it. Not quite, as John Honos sweeps up behind his defence. And what seemed to be a routine defensive clearance there, Joel, almost turned into a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, well, that was wonderful defending by Thomas Matthews. That's where you want your defenders to really show their worth, and he certainly did that there. That was a real desperate last-ditch tackle, and as we saw, Mitch Cooper would have been in there, as he is here.
He is now. Mitch Cooper, will he finish? No, Honos does very, very well, and quickly restarts the play. This is what Oakleigh need to do. They need to build the tempo. Now, Lujic makes a run in behind, but is ignored. And once again, Oakleigh not able to hold onto the ball for an extended period of time, as we appear to be getting some company here in the gantry. I think the kids are coming up here to replace us, Joel.
Yeah, maybe I can see why. So maybe someone heard the early part of the broadcast and decided to kick us out below.
Oh, that's not on, Joel. That's not on Joel at all. That is not on. It's it was a rookie error, but as I mentioned at the start, people get confused, and I did. Yeah,
and well, look, we can confirm that the kids, matter of fact, aren't actually coming up here. They're just roughhousing downstairs, and not quite the main event, but it's pretty entertaining actually.
And we're glad that you've joined us here on the NPL Victoria Facebook page. It's Hume City 1, Oakleigh Cannons 0. Just another reminder that Oakleigh are in the white and Hume are in the red. Oh, that's late. That is late, but the referee says play on. And Brown, who's up on his feet now, and that ball almost found its target. We've seen a couple of those, Joel, and the referees just let them go. It's nothing with intent, just a little late to the ball.
Yeah, well, that probably seemed like a bit of a 50-50 up here. It certainly didn't look good or sound good for that matter. We certainly heard a real coming together there. But, Yeah, look, neither player really appealed for it in the end, to be honest, Bilal. So, look, good that play was allowed to continue. It's really been a theme of this game. This referee's really let the play flow, and it's made for a really interesting spectacle as we see a little miscontrol there and the ball go out of play, turned over back to Oakleigh.
And we're in for a very, very entertaining last 35 minutes or so, ladies and gentlemen, as Lujic is held. Now, Lujic has been more lively here in this second half. Just been trying to get himself onto the left flank, trying to get more involved in the game. He's operating just in behind Epifano, who's most prominently in that left wing position. And now Lujic makes his way back into the middle of the park. Oakleigh really just appealing for anything at the moment. Just time-wasting tactics from Hume, they're saying. Yeah,
well, the ball kicked away there. You could really make a case for that being a yellow card, but some leniency showed there by the referee. But dare we say the next time that happens, probably I think the patience of the central official might run out, Billa.
Yeah, he is. He has been very kind and very patient, and I was actually speaking to a couple of the officials before the game. They were excited for the game as all of us were. So I believe the inner fan inside all these referees just wants to let the game go on, but it only obviously goes until a certain point. When the game gets a bit too niggly, they do have to start handing out those yellow and hopefully not red cards.
Yeah, well, of course. Well, I mean, we all, as football fans, as you say, Bill, we all enjoy seeing free-flowing football. We want to see the game. We want to see the game flow as Oakleigh win a corner here and get a real good opportunity to launch one into Milos Lujic. But obviously, rules are rules. So, they do have to be followed. Of course, there's interpretation. But any time the players do cross the line, well, every reason for the referee to bring the cards out.
And Epifano's been a real threat here for Oakleigh. He's been probably their main threat as the ball comes in here. And there's a control and a clearance, and Kea will recycle. Now Kea waits for his options and he turns and runs. Such a strong runner, Ersin Kea, and he wins a free kick. That's very, very strong running by Ersin Kea. Really nothing on for him. He looked around, said, where are my options? Realized he didn't really have any, and just made up about 10 meters or so into the Hume attacking half.
Yeah, wonderful play by Ersin Kea Bilal. Got himself forward and really epitomised what he's been all about in this game. As you say, no options, but still managed to win a foul with some very good footwork. Really put Oakleigh on the back foot in a good position.
And Cooper's finding himself more central this half. Tried to get on the end of a ball there from Harry Monahan. The Scot is captaining Hume today, as we may have mentioned in the first half. And he's very much playing the role of captain. I can hear him and his thick Scottish accent from up here.
It stands out, doesn't it? It really does. A couple of Welsh players out there as well. So, yeah, some real tongues, some real speaking in tongues, Bilal, going on out there. Even though, of course, we can hear it all. We can hear whether it's the very subtle or the profanities. We can hear it up here. Classic NPL.
Yeah, I just hope you can't hear it at home, ladies and gentlemen. As Oakleigh are preparing their first substitution, we'll be able to bring it to you when it happens. Trying to sneak a peek at the board, but the fourth official kicking it to himself as the corner comes in here. And it's going to be not retaken, but it's just going to be as you were, as they set up again. And Hewitt with another chance to whip the ball in. As Hume's coaching staff cook something up as well. It's best seats in the house, aren't they, Joel? They're I'll come to you in a moment, actually. Hewitt whips it in. Oh, and a bit of a deflection. Oh, a bit of mayhem there. Came off two Oakleigh heads. Oh, man, that would have been farcical, Joel.
Well, not what Oakleigh would have wanted. We spoke a lot about how they managed to tighten up at the back, but that's exactly what they wouldn't have wanted. Conceding from set pieces, that's an absolute coach killer, and Chris Taylor would have had his heart in his mouth there.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. And we can confirm, ladies and gentlemen, In a moment, actually, we'll confirm because I don't want to. Yes, it is Goran Zoric who's coming on for Oakleigh Cannons at the next opportunity. Zoric being prepared. The fourth official is just about to make the signal. Here he comes. Is Zoric coming on for Harry White. And Harry White, who started off on the right flank and also played a bit of a role in the central striking position when Lujic ventured out wide, has now come off, put in a bit of a shift. Unfortunately for him and Oakleigh, they haven't really done anything going forward.
Yeah, well, not really, but probably a good time, Bilal, for some fresh legs. We've sort of seen in the last few minutes that perhaps Oakleigh's grip on proceedings is potentially loosening a little bit. So some fresh legs to get in behind is probably exactly what they need.
And we should mention that James Brown did come off with a knock, not off as in substituted off, just kind of rolled off the field. But he's being prepared to come back on at the next opportunity. And now Hume will try. I was going to say try to hold them in their attacking half, but they've not done that. It's been a lot of hoofball here. Just a few bits of you have it, we'll have it. And Brown now, as the ball finally makes its way onto the ground. Brown runs at the defenders. James Brown, what can he do? Not much at all, as it's intercepted and Oakleigh go the other way. And the ball is towards Epifano, who isn't able to... Well, the ball isn't able to reach him, and Kea. And Cooper's kind of fishing for a foul there. Referee says, please get up. And again, the ball's given away. Very messy period of play, and that clearance just about epitomizes it, Joel.
Well, I mean, these balls over the top from Oakleigh just not working in that last passage of play. They need to be direct. They need to be sharp. They need to be a lot lower, because those high balls are getting caught in the wind. Just in the last few minutes, the wind has certainly picked up a bit, and the ball's just getting caught in the air, and it's kind of hanging back a bit. So they probably need to rethink their approach going forward. Very much the same problem as the first half.
Yeah, I watched Oakleigh at this ground last season, and they came and they actually won that game. And Kea's flagged offside. Yeah, and they deployed a very different tactic. They, if my memory serves me correctly, scored early in the first half, scored early in the second half, and other than that, were very compact, didn't give too much away, and definitely didn't play long balls as they have been today. Might have been a deliberate tactic, as I believe James Brown's actually down again on the far side. And this is a common theme in the last season. James Brown being affected by and I wouldn't be too surprised if that's the last we've seen of him here today, Joel.
I think it'd be a real shame if this is the end of James Brown, which it looked like it might be. He's hobbling quite heavily, and yeah, looks like he's making way for the tunnel as the gates open there on the far side of the ground. But yeah, look, he's a player that we know a lot about. We spoke before about his A-League past. He's got a lot of experience at the highest level, and in the NPL, when you can have a player with that kind of experience and sort of dynamism that knows how to perform on a big stage, it certainly helps.
And him playing with a man down at the moment. Not sure if... No, I don't think he is coming... Is he coming back on? I think he might be. We'll keep you updated, ladies and gentlemen, as Will Hendon now brings the ball out for Hume. I believe he is actually going to carry on. Yeah, he's back on. He's unmarked on the left-hand side, Joel, if they can pick him out. And now they do try to go in that general direction. And here he is, James Brown. Interesting that he was allowed to come back on in that fashion. But of course, the rule is the halfway line. Doesn't matter which side it's from.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I wonder what the physio did there, because he's looking pretty sprightly all of a sudden, James Brown. I wonder if it was the magic spray or the old pickle juice, which seems to be all the new the rage with the doctors and the physios now with cramps. So, no, look, interesting, but good to see him back on.
Yeah, I'm not sure which physios you've been speaking to, Joel, but pickle juice sounds absolutely appalling.
Oh, it's rubbish, but apparently, Bilal, it's quite useful when you cramp up. I'm pleased to say I'm yet to try it, and I don't plan to. But look, I can safely say that cramp is not a nice feeling. So anything that can stop that and make it relatively painless, you'd be pretty open to, I think.
Yeah, I know you play a bit of tennis, but after the 3-4 sets, you might break out the pickle juice, Joel.
Yeah, and I actually had a shocking case of it a couple of weeks ago in our first game of the season, and funnily enough, it was pretty early as Oakleigh prepare a change here.
Yes, they do prepare a change, and it's Wade there who's coming on, and the fourth official actually had the wrong number up, which is why there was a bit of confusion. And it is Milos Lujic, who's unfortunately not had the best day at the office. The fourth official originally put up the number 9, but he was missing one because Milos Lujic is sporting the 99 this season. So yeah, maybe change of a number, change of fortune. Who knows?
Yeah, it's got a very Serie A feel about it. The number 99. We see that there a bit, but yeah, purposeful change from Chris Taylor. Wade Decker's someone that we know from the A-League as there's a foul here, and yeah, a bit of noise from the crowd. But yeah, look, Wade Decker certainly not as much height as Milos Lujic, but he's actually quite a tall man. So look, fresh legs again in that forward position. Probably a bit more dynamic, I would say. So if you're Chris Taylor, you certainly brought him on with the hope of really getting him into the game quickly, and you can't really waste time as well.
Yeah, and Decker, of course, started last week, but was dropped to the bench this week, so he'll be happy to come on and hopefully make an impact. And for a moment there, Oakleigh thought the whistle was for a penalty, but the referee's very quickly making it clear that it will be a Hume ball. And Oakleigh not happy. Didn't see a penalty in there, Joel. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, well, to be honest, Bill, at first look, to the naked eye, I actually thought that may have been a penalty. It did look like it was a handball in there, but it was quite an unnatural motion. So I suppose it does lend weight to the free kick going in the opposite direction to Hume City, and certainly a bit of contention there. Both benches were up in arms there, really protesting their own ways, and certainly the Oakleigh players as well really did make their case to the official.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did think it was a nudge. So I mean, we saw it in the Champions League just yesterday. The Alvaro Morata's goal being disallowed, of course. So something that's it's obviously evident in global football that a nudge on a defender obviously is basically frowned upon. If it was in the other area and it was for a penalty, I'm not sure if the referee would call it so easily.
Yeah, who'd be a centre forward? You'd hate to be a centre forward in that respect. But look, I suppose in the other way, you're walking a pretty fine line if you're a centre back by the same token. But just on that, Bill, how good is it that we're, I suppose in some respects as commentators, we wouldn't mind if we had the benefit of replays here in front of us, so we could give as good a description of that incident as possible. But it's good that it's tech free here in the NPL, and it's certainly great that we don't have the VAR sort of ruining the spectacle and going back and forth. We can just let the football continue, and it has really been the theme of the night, hasn't it?
Had to just take that opportunity to push your anti-VAR propaganda there, Joel. I am very much pro the technology, I'll have you know. And if you want to hear more of that, ladies and gentlemen, you can find him weekdays at 4 o'clock on the Daily Football Show. Cheeky plug there. And he will give you all the anti-VAR you'll possibly want to hear, so much so that you may become a fan of it just to spite him. Let's get back to the football here at ABD Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for joining us. My name is Bilal Ali. I'm here with Joel Frucci. And Joel, this is very much the main event of sport tonight.
Tell you what, Bilal, I would not want to be anywhere else. We've got a basement battle in the A-League, and that sham of a thing in the AFLX. But I'm going to hand over to you as we got a chance here. And
it's very easily cleared away by Hume City as Oakleigh very rudely interrupt your AFLX gag that you've been preparing since half-time. And Brown is unable to beat the man there. Sound defending there. That's another substitution here. That's the third and final change. And now Oakleigh have played all three of their, I don't know, chess pieces, I guess you'd say. Terrible analogy. I'm not sure where I was going with that.
All the cards off the hand below, out of the hand. Cards out of the hand. There we go. Let's go with that.
Yes, let's go with that. Chris Taylor's played all his cards. Simple analogy. And you feel the referee's just had enough of all the niggly action that's been going on. Very quick to blow his whistle. A bit of a contrast to that first half, but it is reaching boiling point here, Joel.
Yeah, well, it's starting to get to crunch time, really. Hume City here looking to double their lead, and you'd probably have to say, Bilal, if they do score again, it's probably out of Oakleigh's reach because they've really only been feeding off scraps in this half. They've had a couple of decent siders, but nothing really major. So another goal for Hume, dare I say, will probably kill it off.
Yeah, and they were dangerous in their last piece from the corner that we saw take a double deflection off the Oakleigh defenders. What will Hewitt be able to muster up here? So wonderful ball! Oh! That's a gilt edge opportunity. And Hume hold their heads because that was as good an opportunity as you're going to get to double your advantage, Joel Frucci. And it was Paul Wilson at the back post there. He's not paid to put in the goals, but it was a perfect opportunity for him to get off the mark this season.
Well, from our position, that looked like an absolutely unbelievable miss. It seemed harder to miss than it was to score. But well, as they say in the classics, Bilal, that was well and truly a defender's finish. I think we talk about the defender's finishes and the number 9 tackles, but that was absolutely a defender's finish there.
That's how you and I finished, Joel.
Yeah, that was me in my heyday at futsal. I was not very good at all.
If that's the heyday. As Oakleigh, who are as relieved as anyone to still be in this game, and the chants coming out, and the Hume fans behind the goal have come. Oh, here we go! That's a howler from the keeper, and Hume here with an open goal, but they've absolutely blown it. Oh, that's going to be a penalty. It is. And what a farcical chain of events there from the Oakleigh Cannons. Joel Frucci, talk us through it.
Well, what on earth was John Honos thinking there? I tell you what, Thomas Matthews, he actually didn't do too badly to retrieve the situation, but then I suppose undid it, if you like, with that tackle. But probably in the situation, probably panicked a bit. But it looks like they've been spared the ignominy of a penalty here. Looks like it was just on the very edge of the penalty area here. So Oakleigh have just escaped.
Now, let me ask you the question there, Joel. Is that not a red card then, if it's not a penalty? Because we, of course, know the double jeopardy rule where defenders aren't punished for being the last man giving away a penalty. Obviously, if they were making a genuine attempt for the ball with a red card, they're not handed the straight red. But is that not a red card if he's obviously given the free kick? We'll discuss actually just in a minute, because Hume are just about ready to take the set piece. Offside. So the referee originally, I think, pointed to the spot. Joel, correct me if I'm wrong. Looked like that, but then decided that he was outside the penalty area. So Joel, I'll put it to you again. Red card or not?
No, I think that was the right call. To be honest, Bilal, and I think we can see just from how quick the referee was to get out the slice of cheese there. Really authoritative in that dishing out of the red. Clearly had made his mind up and was confident in that decision. And if we think back to the actual sequence of play, even though Thomas Matthews in that position and John Honos had come out of his area, the Oakleigh defenders were streaming back, and it didn't look like from my position that he was in fact the last man, even though he may have been at some point. So I think the referee's made a good call there.
Very diplomatic response there from Mr. Joel Frucci, but it was it was one of those where it's touch and go. Epifano here. and Michael Ware, it's probably the hardest thing he's had to do all game, but Epifano has been a bright spot for Oakleigh in that final third.
Yeah, lovely footwork there from Nick Epifano, and that's what he can do. But you've got to give some credit, Bilal, to Michael Weir. We keep saying that he hasn't really had a whole lot to do, but he has been very sharp, and we often see keepers can tend to switch off when that happens, when they tend to, I suppose, be cool and standing in their own penalty area, sort of untested. But he's been quite sharp tonight, and that's good for Hume. They've been doing all the attacking, but by the same token, you want to have confidence in your goalkeeper if things do go pear-shaped in an instant.
Yeah, he's very dependable, Michael Ware. I covered a lot of Hume last season, and he was a standout for them. He was always dependable between the sticks. But contrary to what their ladder position suggested, he wasn't tested as much as you would have thought. He had some games where he was about as quiet as he has been today, but somehow conceded 2 goals, basically in 2 attacks, because Hume City were very much called on many occasions last season. They dominated the game, had a lot of the possession, and even played as well as they have today. But then defensively, they were caught napping a few times, and Weir's defensive record, or record as a goalkeeper, was made to look fairly bad, just by those little stints. But it was a very, very strange season for Hume last season, as we now see Hume make their first change, and it is Lazaridis who's coming on, and it's Mitch Cooper, who has been very much a talisman for Hume tonight, and of course scored a double last week, who is coming off. It's a shame that we haven't seen him at his absolute best today, where he's beating defenders and giving the goalkeeper nightmares. But he has been good, and now he's been replaced.
Yeah, Mitch Cooper's been sharp. I think well said, Bilal. He's had a couple of siders at goal, nothing major. You'd probably call them half chances, but look, he's been a handful, and that's what you want from your centre forward, especially when you're right on top of the play. And I suppose if you look at the opposite side of the coin, Oakleigh didn't really get that from Milos Lujic, but I mean that happens if you're a striker. You can be isolated and you can be out of the game as he was. But Mitch Cooper certainly wasn't out of the game. He really did take the ball down a few times, had a couple of sides at goal, but was certainly involved in the play and worked hard defensively as well.
Now Oakleigh, it's crunch time. Final 10 minutes or so. They've been let off the hook a couple of times. I'd probably count 3 occasions where Hume should have doubled their advantage. And now Brown's completely left it, because Brown was in an offside position. But was he interfering with play? It won't really matter. But that was a very strange one, because we obviously know the rule was changed a couple of years ago. Oh, and that's a late challenge. The referee had his back turned. That was a very, very late challenge by Ursan Kea, who's hardly put a foot wrong today. But the referee was already looking forward, because the ball had been played, completely missed it, and he hasn't received any communication to state otherwise from his assistants. Joel, what do you make of that challenge?
Well, I think that was a foul, a very late, heavy challenge from the man that's probably been the best on the pitch. But yeah, look, we spoke before about defenders' finishes and attackers' challenges. Well, that was probably one of those. And we've sung the praises of the referee so far tonight. He's really let the play go, but that was probably a bit of a blue, I think. We want the play we want the play to flow, but when it's a foul, certainly as clear as I thought that was, it probably does need to be blown. And we saw Chris Taylor and the Oakleigh bench go up there, and they certainly made their feelings known as Wade Decker comes forward here.
And Michael Ware tried to keep it in, but Hume City have given away a corner. And Wade Decker has inserted a new lease of life into this Oakleigh attack. And as the centre halves come forward, it's a quick corner. They haven't even been given the opportunity to come all the way forward, and Now the chance for a counter. Kea furthest forward. It's Hewitt. He goes to Kea, who doesn't really have anything on. Hewitt isn't really busting a gut to get into an attacking position. And again, Kea, like he did earlier this half, has done well to win a foul in a very unpromising position.
Very good play again from Ersin Kea. He's done that a couple of times tonight. He hasn't had any options. He's just sort of slowed the play down, maintained possession, and that's really what Hume City want at the moment. Of course, they're going to try and push for a second goal, but in that position, really pushed up against the sideline, and it was almost probably a bit of an unnecessary foul from Oakleigh as well. I don't really think they needed to do that. He wasn't really going anywhere, and it just gave Hume a bit of a chance to just slow the play down and stop things.
Yeah, I think advantage has been played on that challenge on Hendon. It's really a matter of now Oakleigh needing to switch on the attacking mindset that they haven't really had all game. They've been content to not concede another, but haven't really threatened in any way. And Hume City's defence, I wouldn't say have had a great game, but they've not had anything to really complain about. And now it's Decker. And the clearance is from Monaghan. It's Brown now, and they're really not floating any men forward. And Brown's effort is just quite audacious. And the crowd behind the goal there, who have been giving the goalkeeper quite a lot of feedback, and they almost tried to throw him off there. Didn't think they were even close to succeeding.
Worth a try. Certainly with this Wimberley, that long range effort was worth one from downtown. Been really impressed tonight actually with Harry Monaghan. I think he's been really good dropping back into that back four out of possession and moving back up into the midfield with the ball.
Definitely agree there. He's as I mentioned earlier, he's really played that captain's role well. He's marshalled the midfield, marshalled the defence when he's had to step in there. And Epifano deflection. Michael Ware gobbles it up. He'll have those all night for dinner. It's a goalkeeper's dream when a deflection actually takes the menace off the ball instead of making it a more menacing effort. Yeah,
well, how often do we see those just go all over the place, and often leaves the goalkeeper flat-footed and has the best goalkeepers in the world, Bilal. But that was a very fortunate one for Michael Weir, but he'll be very pleased that it just went straight into his gloves and probably either side. Probably would have been a case of that. Probably would have been that goal that Oakleigh were craving. And to be honest, at the moment, as things have really tightened up, not a lot of chances for either side. They're really coming into premium. It almost looks as though it's going to take a deflection or a goalmouth scramble or something rather unorthodox to actually find another goal. Whether it's that equaliser that Oakleigh are hunting or the second goal that Hume are looking for to really kill this one off.
And now it's Epifano with another chance to run at this jam-packed Hume defence. Look at those numbers behind the ball. The emphasis is definitely on defending now. But with that being said, they're in their attacking half. And now it's Monaghan, probably the furthest forward we've seen him all game. Now Kea presents in the middle. Brown slightly wider. And Hendon as well. The game does appear to be teetering out, Joel. It's a bit of a disappointing climax just because Oakleigh, you would think, would be desperate not to start the season with 2 losses, at least get a point on the board. And they've really, as hard as Chris Taylor has tried making the right changes, I feel, Lujic, who is ineffective, has come off. He's brought on players who have, looked like they can make an impact, not quite stuck for them, but it's a bit of a disappointing one, really.
Yeah, I think Wade Decker certainly off the bench has made a bit of an impact. He's looked pretty lively, but really disappointing for Hume. They've got the quality in this team as James Brown goes forward again, and it certainly suits Hume City though, Bilal, the way things are going now as Brad Blumenthal prepares to come off the bench in another change for Hume. But speaking of James Brown, Bilal, it was only probably 10-15 minutes ago that he trudged off, and we thought that potentially that was his night over. But he's looking very fresh indeed.
And I believe it's Ursan Ko who's coming off. Yeah, it is. Ursan Ko, who, for my money, has been the man of the match. It's been a very close call between him and Harry Monahan for me. He's taking his time. Don't blame him whatsoever. He's definitely run all over the ground. We've seen him in midfield. We've seen him the furthest forward. We've seen him on the flank. So, if nothing else, he deserves to take his time trudging off the field.
Yeah, he's had a very good game, Ursan Ko, and I tend to agree, Bilal. It's he's been the best on the pitch. What's been really impressive about him is, of course, the forward runs that he's made, but even beyond that, when he's been really devoid of options, he's just known when to hold the ball for Hume when they've been transitioning or have been carrying the ball out from the back and they've been devoid of options. He's just held the ball, great footwork, and has often tended to win a foul, as Oakleigh have here.
Approximately 2 minutes of play remaining before injury time, as Hume try to hold on for a second consecutive win to start the season. And after all their outs at the end of the season, as the fourth official holds up 5 minutes of injury time, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes to play. Yeah, I was just saying, after all their outs, and after Nick Hegarty decided to become a full-time manager rather than player manager, a lot of people were saying that they may be in trouble this season, but have they shown them?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Bilal, if there was ever a way to shut down fears of relegation, this is certainly it. Coming out in the new season, 2 wins against 2 very good sides, 2 clean sheets, 5 goals. It's exactly what you want, and your big names are shining as well.
Exactly right. It's a good point. It's 2 wins against 2 top 9 teams, so it's not. They haven't played relegation fodder. They haven't played newly promoted sides who are still finding their feet. They've played 2 established NPL sides, and Oakleigh at home isn't exactly the homecoming you want. It's Oakleigh got as close to the NPL grand final last season as a penalty shootout. Beat Pascavel on the road in the qualifying final, then only lost 5-4 on penalties to the eventual champions Heidelberg United. So we often forget just how good this side are, and that's an effort from a distance from Zurich. And that win that benefited Hume in the first half wasn't as kind to Oakleigh's substitute there.
It was worth a try, though, I think, Bilal, because nothing else has really gone right for Oakleigh in the final third. So Goran Zoric there, really just taking the initiative upon himself to shoot and have a go, and really just try his hand. And look, in the end, it was always rising. But you certainly can't fault him for trying, and they're running out of time. So it's probably worth having a look at another option as Michael Weir takes his time with the goal kick and launches it up to the halfway line.
Oakleigh have approximately 2.5 minutes to rescue a point here, as Epifano, arguably their brightest spark, tries to create something, but it's Hewitt. And now Blumenthal, the fresh legs, he's in behind. Blumenthal. Brad Blumenthal, and he brings out a great save from John Honus. We were singing the praise of Ursan Ko as he was coming off. Didn't quite get to talk about the man replacing him. He was a very, very handy, I'll say, stand-in number 9 for the many times last season that John Kofi was injured, and at one point even kept Kofi out the team. John Kofi, who was quick to tell everyone that he was a Manchester United FA Youth Cup winner, so a very good player to be keeping out the team. So keep an eye on Brad Blumenthal. He's a very, very sharp and good young player. And now Brown with the turn. Monahan's found himself in the box, but absolutely no idea what's going through Harry Monahan's mind. Last minute of play, he wants to grab a captain's goal, but he returns to his customary defensive midfield position, He's the definition of a midfield enforcer. I tell you what, if I was any NPL manager, I would want Harry Monahan in my team. He is, not only is he reliable defensively, but he can dictate the play as well as any number 6 I've seen in the NPL in the last couple of seasons, Joel.
Yeah, real workhorse, and look, players that can play those kind of roles and really drop back into the hole, as well as push up into that number 6 position. Certainly very useful, I suppose. It's something that applies to all players, really, whether it's a striker that can play out wide or a defender that can play number 6 or vice versa, and he can certainly do that. He's had a very good game tonight, and I'd say probably only second best tonight on the pitch behind Ersin Kaya, who is very good going forward. But yeah, Harry Monahan's really given them the base that they need.
Only seconds to play here at ABD Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. Oakleigh with one last hoof up the field. Could this be the chance? Optimistic shouts for handball. Referee said absolutely no chance. And now the ball stays alive. Oakleigh with one last sniff. Will they be allowed to throw in? Referee says yes, I'll allow it. And the Hume City bench is blowing its own whistle, and now the referee follows suit. Hume City have claimed back-to-back wins to start the NPL 2019 season. Trouble? What trouble, they say, under the lights at ABD Stadium. They say, you come to our home ground and we'll drag you into the mud. 2 defeats in a row for the Oakleigh Cannons. And there are some flares being lit up here. Someone call the A-League police, because it's getting a bit out of hand, Joel Ferrucci.
Was that a 3-point deduction, Bilal? I mean, seriously. But no, look, very good win for Hume City. Deserved win as well, you've got to say. Oakleigh really didn't create a hell of a lot, and there were probably only really, I think, 2 real clear-cut opportunities. They both went the way of Hume City. Brad Blumenthal at the end there, and obviously right at the beginning of the game with Ersin Kaya. They were probably the 2 big opportunities, and yeah, look, a deserved win, and what a start to the season for Hume City. 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, 5 goals, and they've beaten 2 very good teams, but not the start that Oakleigh would have wanted. Back-to-back defeats against Melbourne Knights and now Hume City, and with all the quality that they've got, I mean, you'd certainly back them in to maybe get back into the fray as the season goes on, but it's not the position you want to be in after 2 weeks, even though there is such a long time in the season to go. You want to be, as Hume City are at the moment, you want to be the pace setters. You don't want to be the chasing pack.
Exactly right. And what's concerning for me, Joel, isn't so much the fact that Oakleigh have lost this game. It's just how little they created. It's something I always say. It's not concerning when you're missing chances. It's concerning when you're not creating them. And they created very, very little in the way of clear-cut opportunities here today, and that's something that Chris Taylor will be very concerned about. I'm sure they'll be working on training in the final third during the week, because they really can't go on in this fashion. If they are going to play Milos Lujic, they have to play to his strength. If they're going to play without him, then that's something they're gonna have to figure out very quickly. Because when you make a summer signing like that, you do have to obviously play to his strengths. You have to obviously play to his advantage. He can't be isolated 50 metres away from midfield. Well, obviously it's a bit of an exaggeration there, but as he was for the majority of that game, Joel. So I mean, I'm not sure what you think about that, but it's something that they do have to get in order, and very fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, they certainly didn't play to his strengths, Bilal, and I think the problem was Milos Lujic being that sort of big traditional centre forward. They started slowly, and they allowed Hume City to really, to get on top. So, I mean, that certainly didn't suit him. But when, excuse me, Jesus, voice is really giving out. But when Wade Decker came on, they really did give him some life. He might have to take over. God, because I've got the Croaks.
That's exactly what the winds and the cold and the elements at ABD Stadium will do to you, but it's worth it when you get to witness a great game of football. Joel Ferrucci looks like is given out on us, so what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is let you go, but thank you for tuning in to this NPL Royal live stream. My name is Bilal Ali. I've been joined until about 30 seconds ago by Joel Ferrucci, who has now officially left the building, and until next time, just take care of yourselves, guys.